Hey, 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 great evening, great people. Welcome in, welcome in. I am super excited to be with you today. My name is Mone't Horton, and I am your host. Welcome to Sister Let's Talk Power Moves. I am excited to be on this great evening. And guess what, everybody? This is our seventh show. Our seventh show. Let me know that you can hear me loud and welcome in. Tonight, our topic is faith. And I am so excited about my guest, my sister, who is joining tonight. No, she is not my biological sister, but she is my sister. And I absolutely am so excited that she's going to join tonight. Again, welcome everybody. Welcome. This is the seventh showing of Sister to Sister Let's Talk Power Moves. My guest is out there. Her name is Joy Oliver. Joy, if you are out there, go ahead and request to come in and I will give you access. As everyone is coming in tonight, we welcome you. We welcome you. We welcome you in to come in. Take a seat. Take a seat. Relax from today. Relax from whatever your to-do list might be. Relax from whatever you may have encountered today. I hope and pray that you've had an amazing day, that you've had a productive day, that you've been safe out there. I pray all of those things for you, but now is an opportunity for you to come in, take a seat with us. This is a forum where you are able to come in and we are here to share with you. I see you, Joy. Share with you topics, conversations, to engage in conversations and talks that we probably might not be able to dig deep. And all right, she is here. Wait a minute, she is here. This is my beautiful sister. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Let me go in here and
Thank you. I can.
there we go. I wanted to make sure that I could definitely hear you tonight. And so again, everybody, we want to welcome you in to Sister. Let's Talk Power Moves. We are in our seventh showing tonight, and we have engaged in so many different conversations and topics that I believe are essential and very important to us. This is a Christian platform, and so that is the foundation. But we want to be able to create a safe space, a space where we can be authentic and stand in our purpose, and that we can help someone. That's the most important thing as well. That we be in alignment with our assignment, and that we are able to empower individuals to act on that thing that you have been thinking on for the last month, the last week, the last day, the last hour, the last 4 or 5 years. Come on, pick your time frame, but time frame, but act on those things, because right now is your time, not tomorrow, but right now is your time and your moment. And so again, we welcome you all in. I am here and joined with my phenomenal sister. Y'all know I get excited. I just enjoy the little things, the small things. And so this has definitely been a divine connection. Um, Joy, we attend Minister Joy. I mean, we've been still unraveling different things. We know that we're both doves, right?
That's right.
And everyone out there who know what a dove is, we attended Western High School, and so we have so many different things, I believe, Joy, in common that we've uncovered over the last couple of years. But we go to the same church, the same ministry, Open Door Fellowship. Give a shout out to our Bishop Joe and Pastor Frida Anderson. But we also was able to even take it up a step higher. Last year in April is coming up on our anniversary. Sis, what we gonna do,
Oh, we
right?
gotta do something.
But we were ordained ministers together last year in April. And so tonight, I've asked Joy to join me and be my guest in engaging in this conversation about faith. We know what Hebrews 11 says. Now faith, you know, is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things unseen. Did I say that right?
You did. Yes, perfect,
All
Minister.
right, just make sure. Check me, sis. Check me, sis. So, and so, we know that, but sometimes, if we really sit back and think about it, it's not that easy to apply or really walk it out. When I just think about my own life, and I'm still walking a lot of things out, right? Faith has been a great part of my journey and my spiritual walk. We've talked about so many other topics that have also been essential, but this faith thing, faith walk, faith talk, faith,
Mm-hmm.
now faith. What we're going to do with faith and how we apply faith. And so today, Joy, and her name just brightens up the room. That Joy, you got to live up to that, right? You got to live up to that. And so today, Joy, we have you with us. And again, before we get all into this topic and we start pulling back the layers, and we're just going to be led, we want to again welcome our guest in to this time. This space is a time for you to go ahead and settle down, wind down from your day, and be able to digest, drop the nuggets. Y'all know we do hashtags, right? Over here. So, but we're going to flow as God leads today. And so I would like to open up the floor and ask Joy. And let me just say that Joy has also stepped out on faith this year. And, I always tell her this is just the beginning, you know. But she has also stepped out, and I want her to share her business that she has stepped out and launched, Styles by Joy. Is that right?
Styles of Joy.
Styles of Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Styles of Joy. See, I'm thinking about by Joy, be twisting it all up, that could be another level. But let me also say that Joy is my personal stylist, okay? Now, y'all, I have my own style, but when I need some pieces, some specific things, Joy, hey, Joy.
Yeah.
And so, when I also thought about you today, I was like, faith and fashion. Let's talk about faith and fashion too. So we're going to see how this flows tonight.
Yeah.
And but I want you to take a moment and introduce yourself to our guests tonight, our viewers tonight. We have our inside joke that we have to lay on your. I know you've been laying on your side, and all of that, right? That's just our inside joke.
Yes.
But let's go ahead and engage in this conversation, but introduce yourself in your own way.
Oh, thank you so much, Monet. This is actually my Facebook Live debut. Never been on Facebook Live, but I know connected with Monet, she gonna pull you out there and get you out there. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's see. My name is Joy. I am a sister, a friend, a daughter, um, and I am whatever God says I am. There's still it's a dot, dot, dot. I don't know, what everything that God has called me to do and everything that God has called me to be because I'm still walking out my journey. Um,
Amen.
but I'm here. I'm a vessel. I'm who God needs me to be and wants me to be, and who He has called me to be. I'm a boutique owner. I have Styles of Joy. Um, as Monet said, I'm her personal stylist, and yeah, I love God. I love fashion. I believe God. He's in the fashion business. I do. So yeah, that's who I am. I never thought that I would be here um, in this moment. I never thought that I would have a business. I never thought that I would be on here talking about faith. Because that's it's a serious and it's a real journey.
Yes.
And there was at one point I didn't have faith. So for me to be sitting here talking about faith and how to walk out that journey, your faith journey, yeah,
Hmm.
it's all God.
It's all God. Um, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. We gonna go. We don't know. We know where we going, right? I'm just so like, yes. Now, so faith. When I wrote my first book in 2017, well, it was debuted in 2017.
Hmm.
In the back of the book, towards the end, I talk about faith. And faith is something that it takes so much. And sometimes the first step in faith is that we have to trust, I believe. And we have to um, abandon fear. It's so many things that's packed into that word. And what came to my mind when I was writing it out, an acronym, faith is fear anchored in the Holy Ghost. That's what I had came up with. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Now we know in the word of God, it says that God has not given us a spirit of fear. But the truth of the matter is that sometimes we are fearful. And so, in order for me to get that faith, I have to anchor. I have to, direct that fear to the Holy Ghost, surrender it. That's another thing, right? Over to Him. And so, with that, that was kind of like my definition as I was, going through amongst others.
Hmm.
But what would your definition of faith be? What is your definition of faith? Um, yeah, what is your definition of faith?
For me, I would say faith is believing God will do what He said He would do.
Mm,
And you know, that's not an easy thing. A lot of times we say we trust God, and but God, He requires truth on the inward parts, and He you twisted. I saw that
we
twist.
do this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to keep my face together. Joy. I'm gonna try to keep it because the joy of the Lord is my strength.
That's good. God requires truth on the inward parts, and sometimes we say we have faith, and sometimes we say we trust God. But um, when we pull back the layers, and we a lot of times women we have a lot of emotion, and we're filled with we're dealing we're working, we have family, we have jobs, we have, side hustles, whatever we're doing, we're maintaining a lot, and we could go through a lot of emotions. And sometimes we don't take the time to unpack those emotions and get down to, what we're feeling and how we're feeling. Um, and a lot of times we have trust issues. And, sometimes we think, or you may say, I have trust issues, and we sometimes use that as a badge of honor. Um,
Mm.
and, we go from relationship to relationship and say that we have trust issues. And we think that, we have trust issues with people. But I think if we, get down to the root of the issue, it just could possibly be a trust issue with God.
Mm.
So I would define faith as believing God and trusting God that He would do what He said He would do.
That's good. That's good. You said that we have to unpack our emotions. There are so many emotions, and I know even as women, and we have some men who join as well,
Hmm.
but we are human. And let's talk about that. These emotions that come, and they can um block out focus, they can block out judgment, they can, if we allow them,
Hmm.
they can block us from they can block us from our blessings. And one thing you talked about trusting God. One thing that I've learned for sure
Hmm.
on this journey is that we God requires us to have faith. It's a requirement. When we don't see it, when we don't feel it, when we all of the above,
Right.
you know, we have to have uh we have to have that faith um in him. And so tell me a little bit about your journey. I know you kind of graze over, kind of like not graze over, but shared, gave us a synopsis of your journey. But is there a particular faith walk you might have had to take that you would like to share, or um, a particular journey that has stood out for you as you have developed this faith walk, or and still developing? Is it something on one particular instance, or instances that have really like, oh wow, God, wow, I had to step out?
I think it's definitely a continual walk. I'm still walking out my journey. Um, God, He has, even with me, what was it, about 7, 8 years ago, with joining Open Door Fellowship, the church. And, it's just a step-by-step process. And, He doesn't give us the whole picture at once. I constantly think about um, Noah and the ark, and, the instruction that God gave him. And it was just a step by step. He had to be obedient.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's, when I joined the church 8 years ago, um, I'm just so thankful, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know why I was joining other than God told me to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so um, when I joined, Monet, you were there. You're so
I
you,
was.
you were such an awesome friend, because I didn't know what to expect, because everybody knew each other at the church. And I was the only, I'll call an outsider, the only one that wasn't a member at the time. But just walking in, and I was just embraced, and just felt loved. And even there wasn't any cliques, and that can be a lot of um, things going on, especially in church, amongst the women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as my faith, I'm still walking out my journey with God. And, it's a daily walk and it's a daily trust. And, um, you know, he called me to open door, and I just thought that it would be an abundance of um, just everything that he had promised me.
Mm-hmm.
They were just, the Bible says, you'll be flowing with milk and honey. And, but when I,
Yeah.
so when I got there, okay, I'm like, I'm obeying your word, but where is the
The
promise?
milk and where's the milk and honey?
Where's the milk and honey?
Somebody hashtag. Well, that's might be a long hashtag. But where the milk and honey? Yeah.
So, I didn't know, at that particular time, why he called me to the church. And so, yeah, I'm still walking out my faith journey. I had, I was in a relationship at the time, and about 6 months after I joined the church, that relationship ended. So I was like, oh my God, like I'm doing what you called me to do, and my life is just falling apart.
Can we just stop right there?
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, I don't want to intercept what you're saying, but right before you said it, I was thinking like this faith journey requires us to release some things too.
Mm.
And then you say that it's like my life is falling apart. And before I even go there, I want y'all to hashtag daily trust. Joy said daily trust. Faith is a daily trust. And in that, going back, there is a, a process of releasing. We have to release. We have to release, and it might feel as though your life may be falling apart. But the faith piece is that knowing that God, you're really putting me back together.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I just had a.
No, you're good. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It was a daily trust, and it still is a daily trust. That daily trust, it doesn't change. Um, so yeah, after 6 months of, being at the church, my relationship ended. And this was with someone that, I had been with for, I believe, 2 years at the time. And, I was, integrated in the family, and, we were planning a future, and, taking those necessary steps.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, so when it ended, I mean, I was wrecked. I mean, literally. And I was,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I said, God, you called me here, but it's nothing here. You know, um, where's my milk and honey? Where's the life, that you promised me? And, this isn't it. And so that at that moment, and he told me, he said, if you let this go, if you let him go, then I will give you the desires of your heart. But this isn't it. So I had to trust, although I loved him, he loved me. I had to trust just God's voice and let him go.
Wow.
And I said, oh my goodness. And that was difficult. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
Wow. Look, I don't know if y'all hearing what Joy is saying, but she's sharing some of her personal story. And this is I can relate now, it might not have been as far, as in it to win it. But it requires somebody said been there, but it's in that moment we don't feel okay.
Mm-mm.
So what did you mentioned this daily trust, Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk us through that process of what literally got you through? Sometimes we need that daily bread, that daily manner. What are some of the things that you did to trust God or just to keep moving the needle forward every day in that situation?
I literally had to, I woke up every morning and I just focused on putting one foot in front of the other
Mm,
throughout the day. Just keep going, listening for God's voice, still going to church and um, surrounding when I by going to church, it's not just going to church, because we can all go to church
mm-hmm,
and there is no change, right? But it's a matter of surrounding yourself with, the people that God has assigned to you to speak
mm-hmm,
life to you,
mm,
to um, to help you, to lift you back up. And I had to literally, sit underneath the word um, and just be loved on. I didn't have faith at that time because I couldn't, I'm just trying to piece myself together because I was wrecked. And I was wrecked
yeah,
probably for a year. It's
mm-hmm,
not an immediate thing and it's not something, the place that God had me, he needed me in the place that I was. Um,
he needed you
he needed me.
in the place that you were in.
He needed me wrecked.
He said, somebody just put that down there. He needs me wrecked. He needed me wrecked.
Mhm.
However, you can pack that into a hashtag. He needed me wrecked. What is wrecked? Like what we know if somebody say a car accident, it was a car wreck. What was that? What was that for you? Just break that down a little bit more for us.
Um, that was pretty much the hardest, the most difficult time that you can ever think of. Like there wasn't a, if you ever think of grief, if you ever been in a grieving moment, when
Mm-hmm.
you lose the loved one, no one
Mm-hmm.
physically died, but I went through grief. So I still,
Mm-hmm.
went through those stages of grief where, tears and anger and just feeling low
Mm-hmm.
and um, just not knowing what's what. And,
Yeah.
grief can show up, at any point in time. And, it looks different, for different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely a low place. Um, but although I was low, God was still giving me the strength to get up and, just put one foot in front of the other, just keep going. And it
Yeah.
looked like, daily conversations with him, like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to me? And even one point, you know, I started to question of, whether he loved me or not, you know,
Mm.
because I thought that relationship was the promise.
Wow.
So when it turned out that it wasn't, I just I felt wrecked.
Felt wrecked,
Wrecked.
right? So I need somebody to to uh to hashtag put one foot in front of the other. Put one foot in front of the other because that piece hit me because sometimes we think that faith, we just going woo, we're gonna soar off and like, all right, Lord, here we go, put the seatbelt on. And I am believing and receiving everything. And sometimes that is the case. But sometimes it's not. And I remember my godmother, God rest her soul. And she said she used to talk about Joan Crocker Spence.
Mm,
She used to talk about the provision before the promise. The provision before the promise. And sometimes we might have encounters with individuals. It could be in a relationship like you had,
mhm,
or it can be just in other relationships. But sometimes it's, just a placeholder. not necessarily meant to go in to the promise, that land that you talked about with the milk and honey. My, some people are not meant to go through that place with us, and so perhaps that's what it was. But that came to my mind that sometimes we do have to pause and say, God, especially when He puts it to a halt like that,
Mm-hmm.
when He brings it to a halt, because so many things we can think about. God, I put so much time in this. I really care about the person. I really love them at the church. I love my job. I love it. But He might be saying, baby girl, baby boy, shut it down. And it takes so much to do it. Um, it takes so much. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when you trust God and you take that step, like you said, you put that one foot in front of the other, and but as soon as you make the decision and you already, you know, send it off, or you have your conversation, you're like, did I do the right thing? Was that God talking to me? Or was I talking to myself? Was that really the faith?
Exactly.
God, did you really say that? Like, you can hear him strong in some other areas. Like, girl, don't eat that donut, right? Don't pick up that bag of chips. But he say, don't you talk to that man, or you know what I'm saying? And you like, God, is that you?
Exactly.
you know, but having that faith to put one foot in front of the other. So you said a couple of things. You said in that daily trust, you had to, number one, put one foot in front of the other, because every day was something else. Something else could have showed up. The second thing you said, you surrounded yourself with individuals, because you didn't feel, you didn't have faith then.
None.
So sometimes you have to surround yourselves. For our viewers, some of you know this walk very well, but perhaps there's somebody on their journey. We're all on our journey. To tell you the truth, we're all on it. When you feel like you got one level, there's always another one. So when you don't have it in you, you have to surround yourselves with others that have the faith that you are pressing in and you're hoping for, and you who are in a place that they can support you, right, in that journey. Did you have to be vulnerable with the people that you surrounded yourself with?
I think the vulnerability comes. Um, it may not, for me, it wasn't immediate, because, I was still, getting to know some people. But I think because the people that I surrounded myself with, it was such a divine connection with each
Mm,
person. I was able to be vulnerable and,
mm,
share and cry and it's not a cry to relive, what happened in the past. It's a cry and a vulnerability of, okay, they're helping me or assisting me to
mm-hmm.
um, to trust God with my own faith. I didn't know it at the time. I'm just thinking I ain't got it. Y'all got it fine. I'll just grab onto your faith that you have.
We hold
But
on to your faith.
let me
That's
hold
what it
on to
is.
your faith.
Right, 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 right.
And that's what it was. That's what I had to do. And that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
it's okay to hold on to someone else's faith that they have for your life if you don't have it yourself.
Mm,
But, there will come a time where God does require you to have your own faith in him. It's
Yeah.
not faith in things, it's not faith in relationships. It's strictly faith in him. So,
Yeah.
you hold it on to somebody else's faith. Yeah, that's okay for a little while. But your relationship is with God. That's the primary, relationship that we
Yeah.
need to be focused on. Yeah, and
Mm.
everybody, people can't always carry you. They'll carry you, to lift you up. But, you know, you crawl, then you walk, then you start running. You know, they're going to get you to a level, and then what's going to come behind you is you're going to have to lift somebody else up, and somebody may have to hold on to your faith. So it's a process.
So that process, that process. Yesterday, I had to speak and bring the word at church, and God had gave me prepare, embrace the process.
Mhm.
And the acronym is PEP. And we know when you say PEP, it's like put some pep in your step, that phrase that many, use. And the that process is so important because as you said, that for now, you gonna hold on to that faith, but you gotta crawl, then you walk, and then you can run. It's okay that you crawl a little bit, but then you want to, pick it up like the baby you do.
Mhm.
What does the what does if someone in their mind is trying to wrap their head around faith, if we were to put it in this process, it's daily. We talked about daily trust. And again, welcome everybody. Please click and share, click and share. Let us know if you're getting something from this this conversation today. But how does someone wrap their head around this process? What does the crawl look like of the process? What does the walk look like of the process? What does the run of the process look like? And I know even in that, we're all still processing. But let's just even use the example that you gave from your own experience.
Mhm.
Now, in hindsight, you might not be all the way to the promised land, but I believe, sister, that you're not too far, right? We standing in the gap
Yes,
together.
ma'am.
So, can you share with me what does possibly the crawl, the walk, and the run of the process look like?
Well, the
You think?
crawl is definitely um, getting up. You have to get up, meaning, get out the bed, just that putting that one foot in front of the other. That's all you can focus on. You may not, at that particular time, you're not understanding the process. You can't even fathom what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
because your world has literally been turned upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that crawling, like a baby, you're just crawling. You don't know necessarily what direction you're going in. You're just crawling and trying to trying to figure it out. You,
Yeah.
a lot of babies, they crawl around and they come close to a chair and they try to pull themselves up on the chair. Just different things. They come across, different obstacles, in that crawling process. And matter of fact, obstacles come, when you crawling, you walking, or you running.
You
But at
like trying to
right.
ditch them. Like, wait
Yes.
a minute. Came up on something else. I thought I had that.
Thought I had that. That's right. Yeah. But the
Yeah.
crawl, you're just putting one foot in front of the other. The walking, you're starting to feel better. You may see a little glimmer at the end. There's a
Mm,
little, the sun is shining and you're seeing the sun. Because in the crawl, you're not seeing the sun because you're just so busy just focusing on putting one foot in front of the other.
yeah.
But in the walk, you're starting to see the sun. You're starting to see the possibility. Like, could it
Mm-hmm.
really be? Could I really have, is God really promising me? Is the
Mm-hmm.
promise still for me?
Mm.
So when you run, you're just taking off.
When you run, you walking around like, yeah, faith. I am faith.
I am faith. I know what I know. I know what God said.
Yeah.
I'm doing his work. I'm doing what he's called me to do. I've obeyed his commands. Because during the crawl process, during the walk process, you're hearing from God. You're maintaining that relationship with him. And he's giving you instruction and he's giving you the end of the story. And he's giving you still your step by steps and that you still have to follow because he's still helping you day by day. He's still helping you navigate the process. You're not navigating it by yourself. You don't have to
Yeah.
figure it out, by yourself because it's impossible for us to figure it out by ourselves. But it's that maintaining that relationship with God and that open dialogue and communication for us to even get to the run. When
Wow.
you crawl, you have to listen to God to get to the walk. You don't just graduate to the walk automatically.
Minister, you preaching
I'm not.
that little bit, that little bit right there, because it's a requirement. It's a prerequisite.
Hmm.
We got to do the first thing. We gotta do the first thing first. We gotta commit to the first level of the process before we can get to the next level of the process. So that's good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, maintaining the
You
relationship with God is key and it's so important. And it's sometimes, something that we take for granted or don't put priority on our list. Um,
mm-hmm.
but um, it's key. It's key to life. Especially when, God has a purpose and a plan for you and
Mm,
he's told you. And,
yeah.
if you choose to ignore it, he's going to confront you with it.
Can we talk about that a little bit? You mentioned obedience, and
Mhm.
that word is even more so heavy. What role and how important is obedience in faith? Like, what is that for Joy?
Obedience, I can't stress it enough, but obedience is key. Obedience is life saving, you
Can
know.
y'all hashtag that? She linked in on that one. Obedience is life saving. Obedience is life saving. Hashtag that for me. Go ahead. Because we gotta get these. We can't lose these pieces.
You can't. I mean, even if you go back to, and even, we think about, or I think about, the stories in the Bible, and sometimes we say, oh, they're children's stories as far as Noah and the ark and Jonah and the whale, but they are real stories. They're for adults too.
They are adult
They're
stories.
adult stories. I mean, if you ever think about if Noah never built the ark,
Mm.
though, how many lives would have been lost?
Mm-hmm.
You know, not even just the animals, but, his family and, where would we be today? You see what happened to Jonah in his disobedience.
He didn't have that faith to follow through with the instructions of God. He but he ended up, so he gets in the belly of the whale. I want to intercept the story, but he
Because
goes in the belly of the whale, right?
Yes.
And he goes around, was it Tasha, the place, well, we know, yeah,
You know.
the place, right?
Yes.
That he goes off course, but God ends up rerouting him back.
Right.
Hey, Bishop, give a shout out to my Bishop Joel.
Hey,
I
Bishop.
love everybody on here, but I just had to shout out my bishop. But this obedience in this faith walk, it is so necessary.
It's
You
necessary.
mentioned things that are key and essential. We can't get the fruitfulness of the faith walk if we don't obey. You mentioned Noah. He built the ark. God told him to build the ark. But if he would have built the ark by his own measurements, would it have been the ark? It could have been a little tugboat by the time he finished.
Exactly. He would have
But
used the
God gave
wrong
him
wood. He would have sunk.
specific instructions, specific instructions on what to carry out. So with this faith walk for everybody who's listening, playing back, all that we do would be in vain if we don't obey. And guess what, y'all? We cannot obey God, like obey A, B, and C, and don't do C, D, E, F, G, and all the way to Z. We can't pick and choose what part of that process, right? We want to pick up. All right, I understand the crawl, but can I just skip this crawl, God? Can I just go to the run? No, it's a faith walk journey, and we're all on a different path. I can't look over at Minister Joy's, my sister Joy's path and say, oh, look like her faith walk, her journey going a little bit better than mine, so I'm going to go jump in her lane. We all have to walk it out. We all have to walk it out. So tell us more, Joy. You got me a little stirred up about this obedience, because that's such a heavy word. And I remember a time that I'm like, God, is that really what you wanted me to do? Is that really what you saying to me to do? Are you really telling me to do that? And I could have opted out real quickly. But this obedience. So tell us a little bit more about this obedience.
Obedience is, I mean, I really can't stress it enough, but obedience is everything. Like you have to, if we go back to Jonah, because he disobeyed God, I mean, God literally caused a fish to swallow him. He ended up in the belly of a fish and he sat there. I mean, he was trying to go in the opposite direction of what God called him to
Ooh,
do.
geez.
The opposite direction.
Mm.
See, I'm not trying to quote the word, but the word is the word. So
Come on, sis. Go ahead and go ahead. Be led.
I mean, the word says that every knee shall bow, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in heaven, on earth, and under the earth. That means
Mm-hmm.
everything will surrender to God. Now, you can wait until you out of here, to obey God. But why wait until, your last days when you can obey God now? Because at the end of the day, you will obey God.
So you can either do it now or you can do it late. Stretch out your time. Y'all want your time to be stretched in this process?
Because
Because ever you said you didn't quoted the word.
right. I mean, you can obey God now, or you can wait until judgment day. But God
Mm,
promises that we will bow to him. Whether you're going to heaven, you're going to hell. Hopefully it's heaven. But God will judge you on your obedience. It's
mm.
not just our lives at stake. God has, we are here, to give God glory, to share his love.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
And, to impact lives and to change lives. And, that's why we're here. And we get so sidetracked with our own stuff. So, and, that obedience should be our priority, God's obedience, obeying his word, what he told us to do. And it's not just what he told us to do in the Bible. Yes, we obey that. But, God speaks to us individually as well. As
Yeah.
long as we're walking with him and we're talking with him, he's giving us instruction on what he wants us to do. And I'll be the first to tell you, God's told me some stuff. I told him I don't want to do it. But, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, what I'm so grateful and thankful about that is, if we tell our parents, if they tell us to do something, I say, no, Ma, I don't want to do that. If I was 10 or younger, we may find ourselves, across the floor or something, or jacked up a little bit,
Literally, right?
literally. You get your mouth popped or something, something like that. But God, he's so loving, and we can be, because he requires truth on the inward parts. He
On
knows
the
we don't
inward
want to
part.
do, he knows we don't always want to do what he's called us to do. And we can have
Yeah.
those conversations with him, and he's not going to strike us down.
Mm.
He's not going to, cause a lightning bolt, to take us out, you know.
It
Um,
was a little rough in the back in the days of the Bible because you ride on the camel going down the pathway and you be like, hit with the lightning and God.
exactly.
Okay. I will obey now.
Right, right. But we can have that open conversation with him, and he will walk us through his obedience. He'll give us the
Oh, he
steps.
gonna walk us through?
He'll walk
I'm
it.
sorry. You,
Yeah. He's not just going to leave us out there. He knows that what challenges we face, whether it's
yeah.
external challenges or internal challenges.
Mm,
Um, he'll walk us through. He'll give us, the strength, the courage. He'll put someone in our path to help us to in our obedience to him.
yeah. He will put someone in the path to help us with our obedience to him. So he's there to help us with to walk it out.
To walk it out.
But it's only if we allow him, right?
We have to allow him. We have to have that open dialogue with him. We can't just say, if he gives us, instruction, we can't just say, nah, God, I ain't doing that. Oh, he's going to meet you. We can treat him like that, but
Mm-hmm.
he's going to meet you in regards to that, and
Yeah.
he's going to confront you with that,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to just interject, I was sitting here thinking, we talked about the instructions of God and the obedience and how we need to follow through with that. But I'm also thinking about how just in the natural, when we're given instructions at our job to follow for a particular task, um, for a particular project that needs to literally get to this end. It needs to get to this end. Sometimes the manager, supervisor, director might be a little lenient or maybe you know if you come up with another way, you think you can come up with a shorter way to get to the same result, but I need you to get to the same result. But let's think about, how do we do that in the natural? How do we do, think about credit, individual, your credit. If you're on the process of getting things straight with your credit, and there are specific things, instructions, and things and steps and a process that you have to follow. Are these things that we can skip? Is it stages? If they say that this step is going to get to this step, it's going to get to that step, get to that step. Do you desire to skip any steps? We might. If we skip those steps, will it still get us to that end result that we are promised? That you're going to have what, 7.0, 8, that high credit score, that you're going to get that promotion, And so what I'm thinking is, do we question when we sit down with a financial advisor and they give us the blueprint, their blueprint? When we sit down with our managers and they're telling us those things, do we question those things? But when it comes to God, I'm just talking about myself. I don't know about y'all. I don't know anybody else out in virtual world, who y'all might dot all the I's and cross all the T's. But if we really think about it, we question. You sure you want me to take that step? When we think about these other things, we don't know. They are promising things, but we don't know if we're going to really get to that end. But in God's word, he has laid out promises. He has laid out the blueprint. He's laid out specific instructions. And so many times we, Monet, I may want to skip a step. But you know what, Joy? What I'm realizing is that I can't skip no steps on this faith journey, this faith walk. My faith might be real small one day. They talk about that. If you just have faith the size of a mustard seed.
Right.
Am I in your notes? Faith the size of a mustard seed, right? That's all you need.
Right.
If anybody is on here today is looking to run in gigantic faith, if you just start with what you have and take that day by day, that's put that one foot in front of the other, like Minister Joy said, then guess what? You're going to look up one day and you like, yes, my faith is big now. My faith is strong now. My faith is powerful. Joy, I am realizing that in this stage of my life, Monet, you can't skip no steps. You know what I find myself doing now? I'm backtracking. I'm going back to what God told me to do the first time, and I'm checking it off. Because guess what? Perhaps, Joy, the things that we have taken a detour on, like you mentioned Jonah. It was Jonah, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he went in a detour, and guess what? God had him. You said it yourself, in what? A holding pattern. He swallowed him up. See, God already knows what's out there in the sea. He already knows the people, what you call them, the leeches that's out there. Perhaps he's trying to save you from telling you to go one way, but you choose to maybe take a short step, take the shorter route, or what you may perceive as the shorter route. And maybe, and this is just me thinking, the things that we we believe we're having faith for, we're hoping for. God, that land flowing with that milk and honey. You told me, Lord, maybe that's being held up in our obedience to follow through with what he said to do the first time. You have to do the first thing that God told you to do. So I'm just going to tell and admonish our viewers today, if you're trying to figure out what the next step is, and yes, we're still talking about faith as our topic today, and I'm joined here with my fabulous guest, Minister Joy, my stylist, and etc., 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 right? And she's dropping some just all God nuggets. But we're talking about this faith thing, but I want to admonish you, admonish us. Can we be honest in this moment? Ask yourself. Say self. And I say sometimes don't talk to yourself, but it's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good exercise. Self, have I followed through with everything God told me to do the first time? Before I ask God for the next, God, can you give me faith, trust, daily desire to obey you, to do what you said the first time so I can get to my next. My next. So, Joy, I find myself these days, I'm backtracking. And guess what I'm doing it? How I'm doing it? I'm doing it quickly, swiftly. I'm putting some pep in my step. I have to do it now. Time is of the essence. Even quicker than I'm snapping. Yo, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. And you're not in a race with nobody else. You're in a race with yourself and Jesus. You and Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That obedience, Joy, just got me and took me on off. Because it's right where I am. My faith is activated by my obedience. My obedience in the end that I don't see. His word says is there. You promised it, God, but I must obey you before I can get the promise. So that obedience helps us to move the needle forward. It helps us to move the needle forward. Those who are out there watching us today, let us know how was this faith talk, this faith walk? How is it resonating with you, this conversation? Faith, now faith, not yesterday faith, right? Yeah, we needed the faith for yesterday to do whatever we need to do. But is that something that you are believing God for? Is it something that you're trusting him for? We can have that trust, what we think is the trust, down pat. But guess what, y'all? What we're doing now in this season is the action. We know the person, the place, the thing, the now. But God is calling us to move. He's calling us to act. And the thing that is going to help us, and the thing that is most required is this thing, this word. It's 5 letters, 5-letter word, Faith. 5. Had to count, right? Faith. We have to move in it right now. Not later, but now. So, Joy,
Mm-hmm.
we have a mixed group who is sharing and listening and tuning in tonight. What would be your encouragement to anyone on either spectrum who is, they hear what we're saying, but they maybe be challenged. They may be challenged by what we are saying. What would you say to that listener today?
I would say to, if you're being challenged with your faith, being challenged with believing God, um, the first thing we have to do is to be honest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we have to be honest with God. This isn't a fake it until you make it type walk. Um, it's okay. God can handle the fact that if you're struggling in your faith, because He
Mm.
already knows. So I would open up the lines of communication with God. Um, that's where it starts. He's He's there to help us. He's there to help us, individually, and He doesn't stop helping us. He doesn't get tired of helping us. Um,
Mm.
God, He doesn't rest until His work is complete. Um, so He has work for us to do, and He's not going to let us rest until that's complete.
God, don't let us rest until our work is complete. Go ahead. Y'all can hashtag that how y'all want to. I didn't want to yell out in the middle of it, but I about to fall out the chair. Woo! Yes,
Oh
Lord.
my
Go ahead.
goodness. We all have our individual struggles, and whether it's externally or internally, we, as I said earlier, this is my first Facebook Live. I'm usually a behind the scenes type person. I am
Yeah.
100%. Um, but I'm here today talking about faith, and we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
We really do. We have to start somewhere,
Yes,
and
Lord.
God is calling us to Him. Don't be ashamed if you're struggling in your faith. Don't. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's
Nothing.
a nothing. That's between you and God. You don't have to, go and confess to your friends that you don't believe God or you're struggling in your faith. It's an individual walk with God.
Somebody hashtag it's an individual walk. Thank you.
It's an individual walk.
Mm-hmm.
And, God helps us to maintain that relationship with Him. We can't do anything on our own. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, we need God's help to do. So I would, admonish the viewers to, no matter where you are in your faith walk, um, just get with God, talk to God, open a dialogue with Him. Don't be ashamed. You could be a pastor and not believe God,
Mm-hmm.
because we're dealing with different things. Not everybody, has the same request or the same walk with God, and God takes us from one level to the next level where He wants to stretch our faith and increase our faith. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so, we're all on different paths and different walks. So, whether you're a bishop, apostle, it doesn't matter. Possibly don't even have a title at all, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just don't be ashamed of where you are in your faith walk.
Don't be ashamed of where you are in your faith walk. We've learned tonight that faith is a process. It's a process to faith. We have learned that in that process that we will crawl, will walk, We'll get to the point one day that we run. But the most important thing is that we put one foot in front of the other to get started. That we go with God. And in going with God, that we follow his instructions, everybody. We follow his instructions, Monet. We follow his instructions, Joy. All of them. We can't select them, but we follow them because those instructions are going to lead us and help us in this faith journey. Faith, this thing, that word is spoken so many times. And even though it is a 5-letter word, it carries so much weight. Your eye can do nothing. Like, I know I can't do anything of my own strength aside from God. So literally everything that I do, it's been a faith walk. I can tell you some stories about the different journeys and still going through. But one thing I can tell you is every time God has showed up, he has shown up and he's shown up strong. So as Minister Joy has shared with us on this evening, we got to start from where we are. And we have to be willing to embrace this process. Is there anything else, Minister Joy, that you would like to, that you would share with our listeners today about this topic, faith, or anything else that you would want to just leave with us?
I would leave with you that
I love Joy. I would. Yes, yes.
oh, our actions, reflect whether or not we trust God.
Mm,
We can say, we have faith and we can say that we trust God, but our actions will reflect whether or not we trust God. So that's
mm.
why I say, God, He requires truth. You have to be honest. That's where it starts. Um, excuse me. So, um, so take
You
the
said he
time.
already
He
knows.
already knows. He
So why are we
already
telling, don't tell no stories?
he already
He
knows.
already knows.
And I think we get in the habit of, faking it until we make it.
Mm,
You mentioned our jobs, earlier. We can, if we don't know how to do a task, we may fake it until we make it. There could be parents out there who, need some help with their parenting. They may not know what the next step is with raising their child, but they're faking it until they make it, just
mm,
putting one foot in front of the other. So we kind of get used to, just going with the motions, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I got this. Um, but we have to, just be honest of where we are with God, evaluate your relationship with God.
yeah.
Are you obeying his word? Are you obedient to him? Are you even open up those lines of communication? Or are we, too busy in our everyday tasks to even have time with him?
Mm,
So before we can obey, we have to listen. Before we can obey, we have to have time with him. and invest. It's a relationship, you know.
Yeah,
What relationship, can last or stand on, if you're just passing by each other every day and not talking and not having that communication. Yeah.
that's good. Because you better talk to me. It's like, I need some quiet. It's like, to talk to me. No, but you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So walking, this journey of faith, I'm not going to say that it's an easy walk because it's not, but God is walking it with you.
yeah,
You're not alone, you're not by yourself. Use the tools that you have, align yourself, with faith believing people, and if you don't have any faith at the moment, connect with someone who does have faith,
mm-hmm,
and see what that looks like up close and personal, as far as your life goes. Because we go through a lot, the pandemic has, hit us. We're
yeah,
2 years in, and our faith has been shook.
mm-hmm,
Everyone's dealing with
yeah,
something different. There's grief, there's sickness, illness, and just different things, that has nothing to do with the pandemic at all, but it's just back to back frustration and back to back crises that that's going on. um, so I believe that a lot of us are in a place of difficulty of trusting God.
mm,
Um, but he's here. He's here to help us with our trust in him. He's not pointing the finger at us, say, oh, you better trust me. He's here to help us. We're having this sister to sister talk, now, and I believe and
yeah,
hope, hoping that it's helping someone in their faith walk.
yeah,
It's important. It's not something
yeah.
that can be bypassed.
Because it's necessary. It's a prerequisite.
It is.
But it's something that I thank you for all that. I was trying to take, I'm taking all these mental notes. I'm like, she's just laying it all on us tonight. So, you got to pick up the piece. Get what they say, get what you need. Miranda say, Miranda Curtis, she said, get what you need, get what you need, get what you need. So I admonish you to get what you need. But most of all, hear what God is saying and what he's saying to you. What is that feeling that you're feeling as you're hearing this? What is that thing that you're up against right now? And it may require that prerequisite of faith. Start from where you are, but let's start moving. Minister Joy, you have blessed me tonight. And I know you've also blessed our listeners, our viewers tonight. And I am so, I am just so godly, like proud and excited and um just just amazed at the God in you that's standing up. You probably like I feel like sometimes when I be talking, you be like, this girl right here, Lord, what you done connected
Right,
me?
exactly.
I said, God, I hope she don't think I'm crazy. But I be like, Joy, we going to do this. We going,
Hmm.
no, no.
Yes.
But I'm just so excited for what God is doing in you and through you and who he is going to touch through your obedience, through your faith, through your yes, and most of all, through your trust in him. Your land that's flowing with milk and honey. Oh, it's there. Decree it and declare it. It is there.
It is there.
And everything that we've experienced, everything that you've experienced, guess what? Every viewer that's on here, everything that you've experienced up until this moment, Guess what? God is going to use all of that. The good, the bad, the ugly, the car wreck, the relationship wreck, the work wreck, the I started an entrepreneurship um a journey and a project and a business, and what happened, God? I trusted in you, but we found out tonight that sometimes on this walk we probably try to skip a step, and that might have caused us to need some realignment with God to get to the place that he needs us to be in. So I thank you so much for pouring out to us today, and for just being a vessel that is ready to be used by God. As we're closing out today, you've given us so many tips. Wherever someone listening may find themselves, y'all gonna have to go back and listen to the replay. Because guess what? I'm gonna go back and listen to the replay. Get what you need. But as we're closing out, Joy, can you close us out in prayer
Oh, sure.
in your own way?
Thank you, Monet. Father God, we thank you for this time, God. We thank you for the host, Father. Thank you for giving her the vision. Thank you for making her the visionary that you have called her to be, God. God, we thank you for the viewers. We thank you for the lives that shall be impacted, because you have created us and you have instilled in us the desire and the need to serve you. God, we may not have all the answers, and I know we don't have all the answers, but God, I know that you are here on the path to help us walk it out. God, open our ears to hear your voice, open our hearts and our spirits to receive. God, help our unbelief, God. God, if we're not trusting you, God, help us to trust. Show us the way, God, because only you know. There's a lot of uncertainty that we're dealing with, and we're all dealing with something different, God. But you know specifically. God, increase our relationship with you. God, help us to walk this faith journey. Give us the strength, give us the endurance, give us the power, God, because you have called us to be strength and powerful in the world and to impact the lives of people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Everybody, thank you for joining tonight. This has been yet another faith-filled sister to sister talk power moves, where we are here to empower you to action, to live out the life that God has intended from the very beginning. But we learned tonight that we have to embrace the process of faith, and start from where we are. Take step by step, day by day. I thank you, my amazing, phenomenal guest, Minister Joy, for coming on tonight. And I call you my minister queen, queen sister, all of those words to get together, compound, boom, boom, boom. Can we give us some love, y'all? Yes, yes, yes. For coming on tonight and for being used by God. I thank you for your life. I thank you for your time. And may He pour back into you everything that you poured out to His people tonight. Yes, His people tonight. And so, on this faith journey, y'all, this is the last day. This is the last day of the month. And guess what? It's still time for you to apply everything that you learned today, every nugget, every hashtag, put it in your pocket, apply when you need it. But guess what, y'all? It's about to be March tomorrow. Day one, A1. And we're taking it to the next level. We are turning up the heat And guess what? I want to invite you all to March Madness. I am hosting March Madness, 31 days of prayer. Okay? March is Women's History Month. Did you know it, ladies? It now, men, we love you. We love you. But the ladies are going to activate our voices and get on our knees, get in a posture of surrender, and we are going to turn it up another notch. So I want to welcome you all to March Madness, 31 Days of Prayer. If you are interested in being a part and really starting to apply this, every nugget that you've taken from these sister to sister talks, I want to invite you to participate with us. We have a private Facebook group and that we're starting tomorrow. And actually, yes, it's going to start tomorrow. Day one of prayer. If you want to join us, I have 31 women. 31 women. And our guest today, Minister Joy, is one of them who will be coming power pack, elevated, inspirational prayers that will be, this is going to be a breakthrough. Every woman is going to come in their own way. 31 women every day in their own way. They're going to come and they're going to pray on a topic that I know is going to be transformational. Women of every age. Try to mix it up in there. So come on and take it up another notch with us in this March Madness. And to join, I already posted the flyer out on my page, but on my business page, you can follow there, and there will be daily messages coming out so that you can join in and get connected with these prayers. Everybody, it has been a powerful evening. I want to thank you all for joining. Again, visit us, come on in the room next Monday. We're going to be back here at the same place, same time with another topic. You know, I'm going to drop it down on you a little bit closer to the time. All right. So mark your calendars and make sure that you are ready to come on back in the space that has been created for you. Join us for March Madness because we're going higher and higher and higher. And guess what, everybody? We're getting better and better and better. Thank you for joining yet another Sister to Sister Talk Power Moves. This is your host, Mone't S. Horton. And I want to also say, today is the last day of Black History Month. And so we have to be charged even more to go out here and get it. As Mari says, what did he say, Joy? Go get it. Go get it. Go get your blessing, okay? Because there have been men and women who have paved the way for us. We couldn't stand here by ourselves, but we're standing on their shoulders. So we're signing out, and we are charged up. Y'all, let's make it happen. March 1 is tomorrow, and this prayer is just going to blow your mind. Signing off, Sister to Sister Talk Power Moves. Meet us here next Monday at 7 p.m. Thank you, Joy. Take care, everybody.
Thank
Love
you.
you. Blessings.